All right, hello, welcome. This is chapter 1.7, and in this chapter, we're representing function rules and tables. We're going to talk about what a function is and how you can identify something that is a function, talk about some vocabulary like domain and range. Right, by the end of the series, you'll be able to understand that, and you'll also know whether a relationship is a function or not. So let's go ahead and jump right in here. So a function consists of these three things. A set called the domain, which contains all of the inputs. So the domain is all of the inputs. We sometimes call those the x values. Typically speaking, that's the x. We've got a set called the range, containing numbers called the outputs. So range is outputs. Sometimes we refer it to as the y. And then finally, a pairing of inputs with outputs such that each input is paired with exactly one output. Meaning that if we have a set of points, let's say like 1, 2, remember this is like an x value and a y value, and 3, 4, and 2, 1. Notice that the pair here, the input x, 1, 3, and 2, there's no repeated values. So each input is paired with exactly one output. And this one we'll talk more in the second and third video about what that really looks like in a function. But for now, let's talk more about domain and range. So the input-output table below shows the cost of various amounts of regular unleaded gas from the same pump. Identify the domain and range of the function. So here we have inputs and here we have outputs. Again, sometimes we mark those as x and y. Not always. It just depends on whatever variables we're choosing to use. But in this case, the input is the number of gallons and the output is the number of gas. So this is how many gallons I buy, and the number of gallons of gasoline I buy tells me how much this is going to cost. So I need to identify the domain and range. Well, the domain is just a list of all of the x values. So I'm going to show you something in what's called set notation of how we generally write these. We want to make a set here, and we're going to use brackets to do that. And notice that it looks kind of like a bird flying sideways, right? We got a little like a hump, a spike, and then a hump. And then we're going to make a list of all of the inputs: 10, 12, 13, 17. And then I'm going to close that bracket, hump, spike, hump, and that's it. That's my domain. I have identified the domain. The domain is all of the inputs. I input 10, 12, 13, 17 into the function, and that's all I have. My range is going to be something similar, except it's going to be a list of my outputs. Hump, spike, hump. 19.99, 23.99, 25.99, and 33.98. Breaking the pattern with a 98 for some reason. But that's my range. My range is just a list of the outputs. So my domain is all of my input numbers. My range is all of my output numbers, and that's it. So I've got a practice problem for you like this sitting on your notes, so I'd like you to go back and do that real quick, and then I will see you in the next video.